The inner shoreline of Chatham Harbor is one of the most scenic areas of Cape Cod. From the bluff at Lighthouse Beach to the town fish pier, it hosts million-dollar homes, exclusive resorts, and a U.S. Coast Guard station. But the rock revetments that line much of the shore are a reminder that this was once a battleground between man and nature, and that the war that began here 30 years ago when the ocean broke through the barrier beach that protected the shoreline for decades isn't over yet. Dr. Graham Geis of the Center for Coastal Studies in Provincetown and other scientists say that we are actually in the early stages of a well-documented 150-year cycle marked by the building up and then breaking apart of the barrier beach known locally as North Beach. The process began with the January 2, 1987 breakthrough across from the lighthouse. For decades before, North Beach had protected the inner shoreline, gradually growing south until it stretched so thin that a winter nor'easter could punch a hole through it and allow an inlet to form between the harbor and the Atlantic Ocean. No longer protected, the inner shoreline began to feel the impact of ocean waves not long after the breakthrough. Within months, the beach was eroding at an alarming rate. John Whalen owned a waterfront home off Hallway Street.
Well, I can remember the very first day that a bunch of land went away. In other words, what happened is the waves were coming and it was eating land. And there were days when there was 12 feet gone. And that was absolute panic.
With erosion focusing between Andrew Harding's Lane and Hallway Street, property owners fought with town and state environmental officials over the right to protect their property with rocks, dumping rows of boulders along the rapidly disappearing shoreline.
And I can remember very, very clearly going to the Conservation Commission in the fall and really not knowing how how it worked. We had no idea, and we got up and said, gee, what do we do? And Doug Wells, in his, he was the chairman, said, well, really, you don't ask us. What you do is you come here with a letter of intent, right. Notice of intent. Right. And we didn't even know that. We knew nothing.
Right. In January 1988, erosion undermined the Galante house, and it slumped to the beach. It was eventually joined by 8 other homes along the Chatham shoreline, all lost to erosion.
Tough times. And emotional times, because every day something was going like when the Galante house fell in, it was just awful.
Whalen and others, whose homes were located on higher land, coastal banks as determined by geologists, were allowed to build rock revetments to protect their property. Today, the shore to the north and south of Andrew Harding's Lane is protected by seawalls, while the previous site of a half-dozen homes, most of which were situated on land that is now part of Chatham Harbor, is an open public beach.
$6 million worth of assessed property fell in the ocean, right there. And, if you took from here to Main Street and down to the lighthouse, I never calculated what the assessed value was, but it was substantial. And as it turns out, it would have been massive today. So as far as the revetments, I have no apologies for the revetments. I'm really happy we did it.
In 2007, another inlet in North Beach opened up north of the 1987 breakthrough, and in 2013 there was another break in South Beach opposite Monomoy. According to Dr. Geis, a study of tide ranges indicates the system is gradually working its way to a single inlet formation, which could happen in as little as 10 to 20 years, faster than previous cycles, perhaps due to both sea level rise and the constricted tidal flow created by armoring the inner shore. North Beach Island will slowly migrate west, for a time once again exposing the inner shoreline to direct ocean waves, the next stage in this long battle, before the barrier beach begins its long process of building south again. The early stages of this process can be seen in this video compiling 30 years of satellite footage of Chatham put together by Google and Time magazine. "30 years later, the 1987 breakthrough is still shaping Chatham and promises to continue to do so for decades to come. For the Cape Cod Chronicle, I'm Tim Wood reporting.